Who wants to sell more real estate in 2025? Show of hands. Love that. So here's what I'm asking you to do. Take about 30 seconds and write down something you want to take away from this class in the next 45 minutes. So I want you guys to think, imagine back when you were in grade school, middle school, high school, and you had a test or a quiz. You knew it was coming, you studied your tail off. And you got the test back, the results back, and you got a 50%. When you brought that test home, how did your parents feel? You guys there?
Disappointed.
A little disappointed, stressed? Yeah. What happened? No, I share that because I wanted to get you guys kind of imagining back to emotion and energy. Now let's bring that same point to today's real estate market. Anyone in here in the Miami market? 75% of all condo listings right now are expiring in Miami. 50% of all single family homes are expiring right now in the Miami market. Wow, I was right. A 75% fail is a 25% pass. The real estate agents in South Florida are getting a 25% in the condo market and a 50% in the single family home market. That's not exaggerating. That is the reality. And if anybody was selling real estate in 2008, 9, 10, Miami traditionally leads the industry in going into a shift and comes out because we have variables. We have international money that comes in. But those are facts going on right now in the Miami market. 75% of all condos right now do not sell. And 50% of all single families are expiring. Did anyone call expireds or notice an increase of expireds on January 1st? Yes or yes? Yeah. It's happening. We are in what's called a shift. And across markets, agents are seeing a higher expiration or fail rate. And so expireds, first and foremost, should be the bread and butter of anyone who is looking to increase your sales. Why? Because it's low-hanging fruit. One of the lines that I learned at the beginning of my career, we want to be the firstborn, second spouse, third realtor. Why? Because by that time, the sellers who are motivated, and we're going to talk about motivation today, have already made their decision that we will do whatever that agent tells us to do. And so today I'm going to share with you guys a visual of a toolbox. And in there are going to be some tools. And these tools are going to be practical, actionable steps. But understand, today's tactics are just the beginning. And if you want the full set of tools, we have Listing Mastery, where you have Jeff for a quarter of the year sharing proven tactics on taking more listings. So before we dive into the content, there's a couple free things that I'd like to share with you. 3 free things. Number 1 is the Glover U app. And inside the Glover U app, Jeff shares his daily message every single day. If you are running a team, you can borrow some of that information and, of course, share it with your team as if it was yours. And, of course, inspirational information every single day. The second free item is the Glover U YouTube. Glover U YouTube, Jeff is sharing tactical information. The team is sharing tactical information. Of course, you have my YouTube here, Coach Lee Rosa on YouTube. And the third free tool that I'd like to share with you that Glover U provides is the 2025 business plan. Start with some value. So, no alligator arms. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Who has taken a bad listing before? No alligator arms. All right, most of us. So we're going to start today with a question. What is the cost of taking a bad listing? Yeah, time and money. Let's truly dive in to the cost of taking a listing. And so I broke it into 2 categories. Tangible. You got it. You feel it. You saw it. Intangible. Well, that's where it starts to get a little complicated. I have 7 items that are tangible costs when you take a listing. Marketing, absolutely. Marketing, yep. Photos. Staging. What else? Signs, well done. Just like signs, there's one more that goes to that. Lock boxes. How do we get to the listing? Ooh. Tell you guys a quick fun story. So it's 2005. I'm 25 years old. I got my real estate license. I'm wearing suits that don't fit. And the market was super hot, right? It was '05. Everyone's making money. And I got a Jaguar, 2021 Jaguar, X-Type. And stop at the light, and everyone looks at you. It's like, yeah, here I am. And if anyone remembers what happened in 2006, all hell broke loose, right? Gas was like almost $6 a gallon. And my car was getting 125 miles to the tank at like $6.25 a gallon. Yeah, that's a real one. That's a real one. So we hit up all the ones except for 2. In Miami, we got to pay for valet costs. You don't just get to park in a high-rise condo. You got a valet, and they don't say, oh, realtor, you can just park in the front. No, they make you pay. Yeah. And then anyone here run a team? Yeah, you got to pay your assistant. Put listings in, absolutely. So there's another tangible. So now let's dive on the intangible. We touched some of those. See, these are not as clear, but they are equally as painful. How about if you hold the house open? Yeah, house didn't sell. We held the house open multiple weekends. How about showings? Anyone get requests or questions over and over and over and over again? Yeah, imagine that for 6 months and the unit doesn't sell. Absolutely, your sign sits there for 6 months, for sure. Well done. How about getting offers and the seller not accepting them? Negotiating the whole thing, and you get to, and now at that price, absolutely not. Is that a cost? Am I ripping some Band-Aids off right now for some of us? Absolutely. Where is that? Where's that coming from? Absolutely, and that was the last one I had, the emotional cost of going through all of this. So can we all agree that it takes a toll and it all adds up? Imagine taking 10 listings and 10 don't sell. What does that actually cost us? So in 2012, we had a coach, my business partner and I, and the coach asked us that question. And he said, how much does it cost you to take a listing? And so my business partner, who's 6'6", and I'm 5'5", we're twins. And we gave him some BS answer. We threw a number. And he's like, oh, no. I want you to actually get a spreadsheet out and calculate what it will cost you to take a listing. And so we did all the math in 2012, and it was $1,000 between what we earn per hour to the gas, to going out, to the hour plus that it takes to put the listing in with our assistant. We didn't take photos back. We did iPhone photos back in 2012. Yeah, we didn't have professional photos back then, but now our team does, and so photos are absolutely part of that. And so when you know the cost of a listing, one piece of the listing process becomes the absolute most important skill to master: pre-qual. Learning how to qualify an appointment. So we're going to dive into 8 roles of a listing agent. 8 roles of a listing agent. So let's dive in. Number 1, we are a consultant, not an order taker. Consultants ask questions. Order takers do whatever the client tells them to do. Our job is not just to list a property, but it's to consult the seller through the process. Not by telling them, but by guiding them through questions. Number 2, we're the messenger of the market. See, we don't create the market. I learned that in 2007 when I was the all-knowing, and all of a sudden I was, oh crap, the house that I just sold isn't selling. They wanted to sell it. And I had to learn that we as real estate agents can't take credit for a market going up, and we cannot be blamed for a market going down. But if you run your mouth as a real estate agent and think that you are the all-knowing, the market will reckon. You will get humbled. if you're in the business long enough, of course, to survive, to be humbled. So number 2, we are the messenger of the market. We're the messenger of the market. We don't make the market, we interpret it. Number 3, we ask the right questions. Selling isn't telling. Selling is asking questions. I tell my agents that if you say 2 sentences in a row and think that you're going to give a third one without asking a question, just slap yourself. Pattern interrupt. Just do it. Because selling isn't telling, it is asking questions. It is helping the seller self-discover what it is you're trying to get them to understand. But if you just run your mouth, you think you gave a good presentation, but the results are really all that matter. Yeah, we're going to dive into that. Absolutely. I got you. Number 4, I just shared it, but we are going to help the client self-discover. We use facts and data. 2 statistics every professional real estate agent should know. Month supply of inventory and absorption rate. Month supply of inventory and absorption rate. Month supply of inventory simply is the amount of months it will take. The amount of months it will take to sell the current inventory if no other homes come on the market. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, will more homes come on the market next month and the month after and the month after? So when you start to see month supply increase, think of it as a grandfather clock. Grandfather clock doesn't go like this. Once it starts moving, it's moving. It's moving. And absorption rate is the percent at which homes are being absorbed by buyers. So in month supply of inventory, 5.5 is a balanced market, 6 months. And 20% absorption is a balanced market. So anything over 20%, we're in a seller's market. Anything under 5.5 months, we're in a seller's market. The farther away we are from balance, the more intense the market. And I'm going to talk about that here in a second. Number 5, we do consultative selling. We do not tell to sell. We consult. And so when you educate the seller that, hey, we have a 2% absorption rate and a balanced market is 20%, really what 2% absorption means is that 2 out of every 100 homes sell per month. And how do we become one of 2 that get absorbed every month? Well, can't we be the 4th lowest in the neighborhood? Well, if only 2 sell per month and we want to be number 4, we really have 2 choices. We either are the lowest price in the best condition. We can't be the best condition in the highest price. And if we have time, I'll share with you guys a graph so you could have a visual of that. Let's keep moving. Number 6, we set expectations. We set expectations. We set expectations because we explain the market conditions. And when we explain the market conditions, we allow the seller to self-discover. The seller then goes, oh, wow, okay, that totally makes sense. Number 7, we are advocates and a partner for the seller. We are an advocate and a partner for the seller. You see, we are not here to tell the seller what they want to hear. We are here like a surgeon would have to tell a patient that we kind of have 2 options. We either amputate or you die. Not a fun conversation, but if 2 out of 100 homes are selling, we have to share the news. We can't say, oh, let's just put it on the market and hope it sells. Because 98 out of 100 are doing the exact same thing. 75% of all condos in Miami are not selling because agents do not understand this fact. They are order takers. And my goal and my hope today is that through Listing Mastery, and if you choose to join us for Sales Rocket coaching, that you will learn the fundamentals of these conversations so that you have a fighting chance to get ahead of a shifting market that it will be coming across the country. And number 8, generating results. That's our job, is to sell the damn home. It's not to be their friends. It is to help them understand why they need to eat the broccoli. And make no mistake, guys, there's only one reason why a home sells and why a home does not sell, and it is price. Because if you're like me, I go into Bloomingdale's all the time. And I walk out, it's like, yeah, what am I going to buy, a $250 t-shirt? But the second that the t-shirt's on sale for $75, I'm like, all right. The only reason I bought the t-shirt is because it did what? It went on. That's it. We complicate this business because of how much money we can make. But it's so simple. It's economics 101. If something is not selling, that's it. Well, but it needs work. Yeah, price. There is a seat for every ass, and there is an ass for every seat. Let's match the market with its expectations. Let's pivot now to gauging seller motivation, because pricing and tactical it doesn't matter if we cannot gauge motivation. Does this make sense? So motivation determines a seller's willingness to adapt. Make no mistake, someone who is unmotivated, no scripts and dialogues work. Because if someone does not have to sell, they will not do what it takes to meet the market's expectations. Can we, yes or no, can we give a seller motivation? No, absolutely not. Because motivation matches market. Write that one down. Successful pricing starts with understanding the seller's urgency. Successful pricing is directly connected to their urgency because they must meet the market's expectations. There are two types of sellers, have tos and want tos. And you see, a want to most likely won't do what it takes to meet an adjusting market. They'll fight you on price. They'll fight you on price adjustments, and then they'll give you a price adjustment, but the price adjustment will be too little, too late, because the market will have already moved past where you originally needed it to be. So you do what's called chase the market, which is purgatory as a real estate agent. And so we lead generate to find the have-tos. And the have-to, simply the sale, is outside of their control. And there's 6 of them. They all start with the letter D. So, what do we got? Divorce. Hold on. I heard death. I heard diapers. That's not necessarily one of them. We got debt. Diamonds. And I'll give you guys a hint for the last one. Duh job. I'm not going to say 5 D's and an R. Duh job, relocation. Relocation, the sale's outside of their control. They're moving. And so we prospect every single day so that we find these people, not the person who says, oh, yeah, it's a layup. Come on over. It's cool. Come on, we'll do whatever. No. You prospect to find these people because they will do whatever it takes to meet the market's expectations. Write this down. Authorship is ownership. If you get them to say what you actually want to say, you're 90% there. Now we're going to move into questions. The goal of prospecting, I shared this a bit ago, is simply to talk to people to gauge their level of motivation. Our job to prospect is simply to ask questions. Good. Where are you moving to? How soon do you like to be there? And I'm going to get into some of those questions here in a second. But that's the whole point of prospecting. It's simply to ask the questions to gauge, are they worthy of an appointment? And so let's go through some of those questions. Number 1, why are you selling? Well, what's important about selling? We ask those questions. It's the same question to gauge what is their motivation? What is their goal? What happens if the home doesn't sell? Is there a consequence if the home doesn't sell? They're like, no, we don't care. Have a good day. Because you're not going to do what it takes. How do I know? Because 75% of the condos aren't selling. That's all I know. I don't need a guess. I got the facts. What's your timeline? What's the level of urgency, or do we have a bit of flexibility? What's most important to you? Is it that your home sells fast? Is it that you sell it for the most price? Or is it convenience? Like, what is your goal? Well, let's gauge where you are at so that we can match you with the market. Like, is it worthy of me coming out to even go through with this? When you ask prospecting questions, motivated sellers will give clear, actionable answers. They will actually answer the question because they see you as a resource to help them achieve what their goals are. They're realistic about pricing. They hear and understand the market. And unmotivated sellers will give you loose attitude, energy. And they're unlikely to sell in an adjusting market unless they have a life change or that they have a rapid, strong shift in mindset. Pain and gain analysis. This is the next tactic for you. Pain and gain analysis. When you're asking questions to gauge where the seller is, we have to determine what will they gain when the property sells. What do they lose if the home doesn't sell? So we heard downsize a second ago. I have that in my notes. So if they say, hey, look, we want to downsize, you dig. I want you to think scuba dive, not snorkel. Snorkel is I gave you an answer, you move on to the next one. Scuba dive, you go 3 deep. And you go deep. Why? Because that's your job. If it costs me $1,000 to take a listing, I'm going to know why I took this listing, not just because they were nice to me. Does this make sense? Yeah. So, do you like to downsize? By when would you like to downsize? Well, we like to downsize by March. Well, what's important about downsizing by March? When you say March, would that be March 1st or March 31st? Hey, if we flowed into April, would that cause a problem? Yes, it would. Well, tell me more about that. Well, my grandchild has a play at the middle of April, and we would like to be settled. And so what I hear you saying is that if you aren't moved by the end of March and not settled, that would cause you pain. How? Oh, well, we would have to get a hotel or we'd have to stay at my daughter's place. How does she feel about that? What type of house is it? Where do you guys stay? Oh, you sleep on the couch when you go? I totally understand why. You guys see where I'm going? You go deep so that you can use it. Because that's our job, to be a consultant, to use the pain or use the motivation, observe the pain, and use it. Almost like an old 80s action film where like the guy's on against the wall and it has the bullet in it and the bad guy comes over, he's like, where are they? He's like, I'll never tell. And they stick their finger, ah. You guys get that? It's a kind of a twisted visual, but like, I'll never tell. Ah, no. Okay. That's what this is all about professionally. Reverse engineering, next tactic. In Listing Mastery, Jeff talks about this one, where we start with the end. Okay, so you said you wanted to be moved by the end of April. That gives us about 100 days. Did you know that it could take anywhere between 30 to 45 days to close? And it could take anywhere between 30 to 60 days to find a buyer, which means waiting to meet with me for 2 more weeks might not be in your best interest. Does that make sense? Helping sellers self-discover that time is not on their side is a tactic. But assuming that they understand this is fool's gold. Reverse engineer should be part of your pre-listing packet. It's in the Glover Agency pre-listing packet, and it should be a tactic that you use because you cannot assume that they understand. So key takeaway, motivation is the foundation. Motivation is the foundation of a successful transaction. If a seller is motivated, they're going to adapt to the market. If a seller is motivated, they will adapt. They will take the necessary steps to meet the market's expectations. Give you guys some pro tips. Number 1, communicate with your sellers every single week. How often? Every single week. Ideally the same day. Every single week. And when you start, you have to keep doing it. Build a strategy of week 1. You tell them what you did for them. Hey, we have it on this site, this site, this site, this site. Here's the links. Let me know what you think. Here it is. It's everywhere. Week 2, feedback. Set them up. National Association of Realtors says 2 weeks or 10 showings. 2 weeks or 10 showings. If we have no offers on the property, we are 10% out of the market. If we're at $500,000, drop to 450.
Oh, price adjustment.
Yeah, price adjustment of 10%. Now, why? I'll give you guys a why behind that. We have to get our sellers to think like buyers, because they were all buyers at some point, but for whatever reason, they forget all that shit. So we got to get them to think like buyers, and buyers ask 2 questions when they're interested in a property. What's the price, and how long has it been on the market? And so if a buyer sees that a property's been on the market for 3 months, are they given list price? No. Hell no. But we got to get them to see that, right? We got to get them to start thinking like that. And so if we're listed at 500, the buyers at 475 have seen that property at 500. The buyers at 510 has seen the property at 500. And so if we adjust to 460, 450, we're now in the next pool of buyer. And make no mistake, amateurs focus on price. Write that down. Professionals focus on terms. I will give you your price all day long as a negotiator, and I will destroy you on the back end. And if we got an offer versus 6 offers, can we do our job with 1 versus 6? With 6, we can negotiate terms. Price over appraisal, waive the inspection. I mean, y'all were selling real estate. Yeah. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here real quick. I want to share this with you guys so you guys can connect how markets are cyclical. I'm going to go down a rabbit hole. This was not what I prepared, but I'm going to give it to you guys. In 2009, 2010, everyone wanted to sell their house. Everyone. But not everyone could. So they didn't have the equity. They didn't have a hardship. So they lost their house. In 2021, everyone wanted to buy a house, yes or yes? Yes. But not everyone could, because they didn't have the cash to go over appraisal. They didn't have the cash to fight with. Does this make sense? Yes. It's the same market, just switched. Markets are all cyclical. We have to get our sellers to start thinking like buyers so that we can get ahead and meet the market's expectations. Write this one down. Time is the enemy of equity. Final takeaways. We talked about the pain points of taking a listing, yes? Pain points of taking a listing. The confidence to take more listings because we now know what to say. Absorption rate and month supply of inventory. Guys, that has to come off your, every time your board puts out the statistics, it should be Christmas or Hanukkah for you. Every single month. And if it's not, start next month or now, go tonight and see what it is. Because knowing absorption rate and month supply of inventory is the equalizer. It's the math. It's the math. And understand that Miami always leads the nation. The shift is coming. And if you don't see it yet, it's coming. Time is the equity, or time is the enemy of equity. So we talked about a couple tools. Talked about the proverbial toolbox. Gave you guys a couple tactics today. I'm going to give you guys one last one. And it's a script. And it's called the fresh fruit analogy. And so imagine you go to your supermarket. You go into the produce aisle and you grab a melon. Touch it, squeeze it, it's nice, it's firm, it's fresh. Smell it, wow, take it home, put it on your counter. You have friends come over, you're like, oh, look at this beautiful thing. After a week, after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, the melon starts to change. It's not something you want to brag to your friends that you have. See, listings are just like fresh fruit. At the beginning, we want to tell everyone about it. And after a couple weeks, it becomes something we want to avoid. Let's avoid the fresh fruit syndrome and adjust the price today. Sweet. So, we do okay? Was this a decent breakout? Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you.